At Chiefs training camp, a little fun and games goes a long way, but trick plays are the name of the game today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, friends and neighbors. After a 10-10 practice and a day off tomorrow, we have a great show for you. We're brought to you today by FanDuel. As of right now, the summer is in its full swing, and everybody's getting a deal every single day, either a bonus or a boost. Over at FanDuel, you can get in the action at FanDuel.com/locked on. Get started over there. We're getting started because it was a fun day. 10-10-10 lends itself to having a little bit of abnormal plays, and they certainly are doubling down on that. But it gives you an idea what the rest is bringing to both sides of the ball. We're going to dig into it detail by detail. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, NFL33.com, and RGR Football. And this is my partner, Chris Clark. You guys know him from Chiefs Corner, where he's breaking it all down, position by position on the cap analysis, what it means for the future, especially with all these contracts coming up, wide receivers, quarterbacks. Oh my, there's a lot there. Check it all out on Chiefs Corner, and make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell here on YouTube because we're free and available for you 5 days a week, everywhere you can get audio. It starts here on YouTube. Then it goes out to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you can get audio for free. You can get us 5 days a week plus, because we are giving you bonus content. If you missed all of our weekend content, go back and see that. We've been covering this team for going on 8 years on this show now, and we know how to churn out the extras for you, so don't miss it. And if you want that much more, get on the text line at 816-357-8781. That's where all of our everydayers go. They make us their first listen. We appreciate you guys making us your first listen. Try another Locked On show for your next. Now, today, the defense is ahead of schedule in terms of the last couple of years, the momentum they've been building. Both Steve Spagnuolo and Trent McDuffie talked about that today. A lot of great takeaways there. We'll get to that coming up later in the show. How do you expand the offense? Well, there's a couple of natural ways and there's a couple of new ways that are coming to it. But first, the offense is getting into the groove there, doing some trick plays, some things that allow them to not just showcase their talent, but use it as an offensive weapon. Today, the Chiefs threw in a quad pass, which I think everybody's all kind of Twitter-pated about, not to refer to the old X platform. But it's not just that they threw 4 passes on a given down. It's the fact that the long one, the one that counted for the completion, didn't come from Patrick Mahomes. This was Mahomes to Toney, to Mahomes to Toney, and then to Xavier Worthy well downfield. Obviously, it's like, what would you call that? Is there a term for that? A quad pass?
Yeah, I don't know that there's really a term for it, considering it just doesn't happen. So this is not surprising to me. This is kind of the things that they throw in. I'm kind of annoyed because why could Reed not have pulled this out of the playbook a day before while I'm sitting there, or on Saturday when the family fun day was. But you know, it's fun to see, and I think this shows you another sign of different things that they have in their bag for a guy like Kadarius Toney, who we knew could throw the ball. So that's not surprising. And it was a deeper pass than you would think you'd be having a wide receiver throw. So, I mean, there's something there. I don't expect them to ever pull the quad pass out, but a double pass would not shock me in the regular season. We're in the postseason. We'll see. Kansas City is always kind of throwing new things out there.
I'm going to call it a triple-decker flea flicker. That's where I'm at right now. I don't know if that's going to stick, but we're going to give that one a shot. The funny thing is, yes, you missed it today because you've been at camp the last few days until now. But this was a 10-10-10, which is a lighter practice. It's better paced. And the idea is to allow guys to make plays, whether on the offense or the defense. They're encouraged to really go for it, jumping routes, making the extra effort that is a little bit outlandish. But it's not the only thing they've been practicing in this kind of like different kind of offense, right?
That's true. And really quick, the reason why this is such a different practice is because you're not having ones go versus ones. You're having ones go versus twos or threes on both offense and defense. You have 10 offensive plays, 10 defensive plays, then 10 special teams plays. That's how you try to get it to where your teams are going to win. That's what makes a lot of sense, and that's why you see different things on 10-10-10 days. And it's brilliant to use those types of situations to try new things, so it doesn't really surprise me too much. Joe Toney was out there, so that's a positive sign, although I don't think he was out there for the team portion. I think he just did some warming up and whatnot. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I saw multiple different trick plays, and usually it was completely on the other side of the field, which never really helps me, but it's really easy to identify a trick play when you see the yellow jerseys spread out. So saw a couple from Mahomes and from Wentz where they were split out there running wildcat of some sort on the other side of the field.
And wildcat's something that they haven't used a ton of. I think there are multiple guys on this roster that can do that. Utilizing the athleticism is one thing. Making sure that you can decipher a play and the defense that's attacking, I think that's a very much another thing. So I'm glad that they're using it this early in camp because it tells me it may be more of a possibility in the regular season if they're putting some work into it now.
Yeah, and it's going to be curious to see how this progresses throughout camp, what other trick plays they come out with and what they do. They have Patrick Mahomes. He's going to extend plays and will make plays that aren't trick plays seem like trick plays just because of the way he pulls them off. But you're right. They have multiple guys that can run things. You saw with the pass with Toney, they know that he can throw the ball. That's something he can do. You can put Pacheco back there in the Wildcat. They've done that before. They put Travis Kelce back there before, although don't know that you want to see Travis Kelce throwing the ball, but we'll see how that ends up. But it's a fun time. You look at everything that they're trying to do. And the curious thing for me when it comes to Toney is when you look at what they're using him for and putting him in the backfield, it sure seems like they are trying to find extra ways to possibly get him on the field and get him involved in the offense, which to me tells me that he's probably closer to being locked onto this roster than some people would give him credit for.
Yeah, that's very true. And I have him down behind the number 4. We'll see what happens with Watson, but definitely on the roster at this point, unless something comes to bump that around. We'll see what happens because he's got to be the icing on top of the offense. Expanding that offense and redoubling down on is what's going on now with the additions of a couple of plays and the solidification of the offensive line. That's coming up next here in the Locked On Podcast Network. You love sports just like I do, and you love them so much you never want them to stop. But the playoffs have come and go. It's baseball season, and now it's training camp. There's always something to get into the action, and wherever you want to go, you can do it with one app on FanDuel and place any bets anytime you're in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is giving away to all customers either a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com. You can even take a look at the Chiefs right now. They are plus 600 for the next Super Bowl, the three-peat Super Bowl. You can go to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer right now. There's still time left in this summer. FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook betting partner of Major League Baseball and the NFL. Make sure you check out Locked On Sports today because it's 24/7. It's no shouting voice. It's all local experts, and it's the teams that you want to see 24/7 hours a day whenever you need it. It's on Locked On Sports today here on YouTube and on Amazon Fire TV. Expanding the offense is always a goal. Andy Reid's always throwing out new trick plays, not just tricks, but new plays in general. Drew Tranquill talked about it the other day about how even though we've seen this formation or in the net result, the go-to route in a pass play is the same as we've seen in years before, everything looks a little bit different every year because Andy's always playing around with it. The difference this season is twofold for me today. One, that Joe Toney's return is there. And a lot of folks are a little bit concerned. I've got a lot of questions today about, hey, they went back to rotating Kingsley Suamataia and Wanya Morris at the left tackle spot. What's going on? And I will tell you this. It's very clear to me that it's about playing with Joe. They put Joe right in there. Didn't really hold him back. Maybe not team, but that's all right. Got him in there with some reps with both guys right away. And for me, I take that as a takeaway for the synergy of those two guys being able to play next to Joe Toney. How did you take it?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure how to take it. It's surprising to me because it doesn't make a ton of sense with what we've seen so far. And Wanya Morris getting the snaps when he came in, when the veterans reported, made me think that, okay, maybe this is more of an open competition. But then you go into pads and you go 3 days in a row where Kingsley is your guy. That to me signals a lot more than a situation like this where it's rotating. Maybe it's just them trying to get him reps with Joe Toney, or get them all reps with Joe Toney. We'll see how that ends up. It also wasn't just Caliendo. I believe Norzad also showed up and was rotating in at left guard with the ones. So something to watch there as well. The whole thing is going to be intriguing to see how they continue to play this. And I think what I said on Monday, I'm going to stick with. I don't think that Toney is going to be really in pads until maybe August 1st. And I don't even know that they will be having him play in the first preseason game. We will see and I know that's August 10th. I know that's a long time away, but the guy hasn't practiced and played and hit and done all the things that his teammates have done for the past couple of days. And yeah, maybe he can get acclimated quick enough, but do you really want to push it? Do you really want to, go that direction when you already know what you have there? And yeah, you want to get chemistry with the guys, but maybe you're trying to get more reps to a guy like Caliendo or Norzad to be that other guy that can play three positions for you on the roster.
Yeah, you got to find that guy. No matter who's out there, you got to be able to add dimensionality to this offense. And now that we're going to see defenses give more ground so that they don't get the lid taken off of their defense, right? Because of everything we're seeing, even in just preseason plays like this between Worthy and Brown and the deep ball being back, it opens up lighter boxes. And so you have to be able to take advantage of that. You have to be able to run over your left guard. That's not a question. The interesting thing is Isaiah Pacheco seems to feel that he's actually running faster. A piece of media out there that the Chiefs put out was kind of making a joke of it, but I've heard from multiple people seeing it in person that he actually does look like he's got a little bit more high-end speed. What did you see, and do you think it's true?
I didn't really see it, but I will say that it wouldn't shock me if he does. You have to remember he was going into last preseason injured. He had surgery. I'm sure he was dealing with some injuries after the Super Bowl. Everybody's dealing with injuries after the Super Bowl, but it wasn't to the same extent that it was for him the previous year. So he's able to train differently. He's able to do different things, and that should be able to get him maybe a little bit of a boost in speed and top end speed. The question really when it comes to him is he going to get the breakaway speed? Because while he can be fast and he has had a breakaway or two, it's not extreme top end speed, and that's fine. He doesn't have to have that. You'd love to have it, don't get me wrong, but it's more important that he continues to grow as a running back in this for this team, doing the little things that he's been getting better at, catching the ball out of the backfield, blocking. That is a huge deal, being able to pass block and being able to keep Mahomes clean for the most part.
And I think no one's going to reap the benefits of the over-the-top game probably more than Isaiah Pacheco. He's going to get more play-action looks. He's going to get lighter boxes all day long. Being able to hit the edge and turn it up and have just a little bit more speed. It doesn't have to be a whole other gear. We're not asking you to get to Jamal Charles speed or anything like that. Right. If you really want to hit that home run and you want to get somebody in that 4.3 type speed, go put LRZ in there. I saw a couple of runs from him the last few days that tell me he's got a long way to go in terms of a feel for being in the backfield. But there is no doubt when he sees daylight, he's got that top gear to go to.
Oh, yeah, I saw that specifically on Sunday. There was a play where he got a pitch. Well, I don't know if it was a pitch. It was a handoff, and he was going outside, and there was literally maybe 6 inches on each side of his arm of extra space. But he hit the hole. He hit it quick. He hit it fast, and he was off to the races. And it wasn't a big gain or anything, but it was one of those things where you watch the offensive linemen are down the field at a couple of yards. He gets between those two guys and then just hits another gear. And you could tell that if he would have had a chance to break it away, it would have been a big touchdown. But obviously, they're not tackling full contact at this point. So I think he got touched by a couple guys and was down after maybe 10 yards. But it's still one of those things, watching him find the hole in the backfield and accelerating through it, seeing that gear, seeing him be able to take that angle and plant his foot and go. That's very encouraging. And let's not take away too much from Pacheco. It's not like Pacheco was slow. He was pretty quick coming out of the draft. Right. He's not a 4.2 guy, but he's still pretty quick for a running back. So, I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And you are absolutely right. I mean, he's going to see smaller boxes. The thing I'm curious about is even if he sees smaller boxes, I mean, what happens if you put Hollywood and Worthy on the field at the same time, and then you bring in Kelsey and Wiley as well? What is the defense going to do? Because you got two guys that have game-breaking speed on the outside, but you also have a two tight end set. I mean, that would look like it should be a running play. Is it going to be with what we've talked about with Andy Reid? I'm not so sure, and we'll see how that turns out.
I have some wonderful diagrams I could draw up for you. Maybe we'll do a live poster board session or something like that, because that's exactly the conundrum you want to put the defense into.
Absolutely.
On the Chiefs defensive side, they don't want to be there. They're ahead of recognition right now. A lot of momentum on that side of the ball that probably isn't getting its due because of the deep passing game we've seen in camp to this point. But where are they and where are they going? That's next on the Locked On Podcast Network. Summer's in full swing, and we're getting ready for football season. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to go to MLB right now and go see the Royals, or you're waiting on your preseason tickets, your Chiefs tickets for the regular season, or even those cold, snowy days. The best way to get it done is Gametime. It helps if you can plan. I fully admit that, but sometimes you just can't. And so last-minute deals are exactly what you're looking for, whether it's the section of the stadium that you want, whether it's the seat exactly that you want, or whether you're just looking for that last-minute super saver. You can save up to 60% on tickets last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, anything at Gametime. This is really important. I sit in one section of Arrowhead, and I really love it. It's a zone deal, and when that comes up, I try to go all in because they give you all-in pricing with no hidden fees. It takes the guesswork out of getting tickets for Arrowhead, but for baseball as well. You can get it all at Gametime. So download the Gametime app, create your account, and use our code LOCKEDONNFL. You're going to get $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply, but it's super simple. Create an account, use our code LOCKEDONNFL, and you're going to get $20 off of your first ticket purchase. So download it today. It's last-minute tickets. It's lowest prices, and they are always guaranteed. Folks, make sure that you are subbed here on this channel. Check out Chiefs Corner. Get on NFL 33. I'm breaking down this crazy quarterback thing that's going on over there as well this week. A lot of content across the league and always on RGR Football as well. Make sure you subscribe to another Locked On channel. Maybe it's Locked On Sports Today. The defense is obviously the second fiddle in Kansas City. As long as you have Patrick Mahomes, it's always going to be like, yeah, and the defense can contribute as well. But for the first time last year, they really were the basis, especially when the struggles in the passing game showed up early in the season. They were how they got through games. And encouragingly enough, today with Steve Spagnuolo on the podium as well as Trent McDuffie, both of them feel that they are ahead of schedule compared to where they were last year, despite the loss of L'Jarius Sneed, a shutdown corner. But the emergence and development of Trent Green maybe replaces that. I'm excited to hear them recognize that fact. That means that I still think that they can be a top 10 defense.
Trent Green? Who'd you mean? Trent McDuffie?
Oh, you know what, Trent Green? You are my favorite quarterback that I mention all too often. Sorry, buddy. Mr. McDuffie, apologies. Yeah, Trent. Okay. There's too many of them in Kansas City, I guess.
I kind of figured that's what you meant, but I wanted to verify. And really quick, before I forget, go check out Peacock and Williamson. I was actually on there. I think I will be on Wednesday's show. Talking about this Chiefs team, talking about the Chiefs defense, talking about Mahomes, a lot of stuff that we covered there. But it's, when you look at this defense and you look, and this is, I also specifically talked about the corners. When you look at this defense and where they are, it's going to be a big question whether or not they're going to be able to get things done with L'Jarius Sneed. And my biggest point that I would say on that is Josh Williams has looked really good in camp. Najee Johnson has continuously played well when he's been available, and you see it specifically in the one-on-ones going up against the wide receivers, and it's been really fun to watch. But the big question is what are you also going to get when you get back a guy like Jalen Watson? I mean, we don't know at this point what he's going to bring to this roster. And, then you look at other guys that they put in there in Keith Taylor and in Kelvin Joseph. You look at just all these corners that are flowing through that are getting time with the first team, and that says a lot about what they think about their depth. And what I mostly mean by that is Josh Williams, they know what they have there. They need to figure out can Kelvin Joseph step up and do something kind of like what they've seen from other guys? Is he going to be somebody that's going to be able to contribute this year for this team? Is Keith Taylor going to be a guy that's going to be able to contribute for this team? Until they get a guy like Jalen Watson back out there on the field, you're still going to wonder what you have sitting on the sidelines with injuries. But at this point, and Watson's shown multiple times throughout his career that he can be very good at times, but he's not consistent. So that's something that you're going to have to watch there as well. And the bigger question that I really have is when you start getting into this defense and how it's going to play, the thing that I'm really curious to see how it continues to go for training camp is, are they going to lock McDuffie into the outside and keep Shamari Connor as the nickel corner? Because if they don't, then you're having a bigger question that you have to get addressed before the season starts, because I don't think you want to be rotating and trying to figure it out once the regular season kicks off against the Ravens.
You're absolutely right. And that's where other guys like Taylor, like Joseph, even Kamal Haddon, that's where those guys come into play because of the versatility. Now, I think it all still hinges on Justin Reed, but having those guys, and even Kelvin Joseph, who Spags mentioned today that there was some question about why he missed a couple of days of camp, and it was because he the birth of a child, not because he had some problem or anything.
Which to me is a good reason. So,
absolutely. But absolutely nothing derogatory about his play on the field. So giving him more looks with the one, Spags was saying today that he earned it. That's another positive sign that lets you be a little bit more flexible with what you have to do with Trent McDuffie. There, I said it
right. Yeah, you did. I just want to say really quick, how big of a thing is that for a guy like Spags? And this is another thing we actually talked about on the Peacock and Williamson show, is go look back at Spags' history with this Chiefs team, and you can go back to Shavarius Ward even being a late-round pick. L'Jarius Sneed was a late-round pick. Yeah, Trent McDuffie was a first-round pick. We get that. But look at what he's done for the DBs on this roster. Justin Reed is much better in Kansas City than he was in Houston, and he was okay in Houston, but I think he's been even better in Kansas City. Then you look at what he was able to do with Brian Cook, who I was excited about, but I still think he's been playing better than he would without being in Spags' system. Shamari Connor, he took under his wing. Now Jaden Hicks. You have all these guys that are stepping in, and he's helping develop all this talent. And the whole reason I point that out is Kelvin Joseph was a second-round pick, I believe, a couple of yeyears ago, and I can't remember where he went. So I apologize about that. Do you know off the top who drafted him? Was it the Cowboys?
I'm not going to say what I thought because I think I'm wrong. I'm going to double check for you though.
Okay. So, but my point on Kelvin Joseph is they saw talent in him. He was a second-round pick. Whether or not he was really worth a second-round pick is not the question. The question is can you take what talent he has, put him into a system, and be successful with him and use him to his fullest capabilities and be successful on the football field? And Spagnuolo was able to do that. And I'm not trying to take away from the DB coach at all, so please don't take it that way. But Spagnuolo has been developing these guys for a while, and the DB coach obviously as well.
Yeah, you were right. He was originally brought in the league by the Dallas Cowboys, number 44 overall in that selection. But last year started the season and played with the Miami Dolphins up until about that midway point when the Noah Igbinoghene trade happened. That was November 14. So then he finished out the season in Seattle on their practice squad, and now he's here. So again, a lot of off coverage there.
Yeah, he was in Vic Fangio's system in Miami, another guy that's been spectacular defense, but he couldn't get him to be what he wanted him to be. Spagnuolo and now in Kansas City, it looks like they think they found something. So that's very encouraging going into this year.
Yeah, and it's such a Brett Veach story to salvage a high draft pick that didn't work out in his first system. Yeah, so we'll keep going there. The Chiefs are off tomorrow. They'll be back in pads later in the week. We're going to have Matt Derrick on to give his updates on what he's been seeing. But there's a lot yet to come. Keep an eye on the left tackles. Keep an eye on the running backs. The kickoff is starting to come along. They've been practicing a little bit more, got some reps in today. We'll break that down later in this week or early in the next, depending on when we get a little bit more view of it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give Matt Derrick a little bit of a hard time for me and tell him, who beat him. Ask him who made it to practice first.
Oh, is that what we're doing now? Okay, well, hey, I could throw down the gauntlet. That's fine. Folks, make sure
Just
you're back
having fun.
tomorrow. We'll have Matt on. We appreciate you being with us. Like, sub, hit the bell on YouTube. Make sure you get subscribed on the audio platforms. We're here 5 days a week for you, and we really appreciate you being with us. We know camp is a grind. It's just getting going, though. So be with us as we get ready for the Chiefs 3-peat run. We appreciate you being with us today, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.